Hey guys, it is MissSimReno. If you are returning to the channel, welcome back. And if you're brand new, I am very excited that you decided to join me here today for another speed build. And we're building in Brindleton Bay on the island. I think this lot is called Deadgrass something. It's in the top left-hand corner of the screen, but whenever I'm doing voiceovers, I can't read it very well. It's not very clear. Anyway, I wanted to build a home here. This was originally where the museum was. And I loved the museum, I really did. I loved the idea of it, and it kind of pained me to bulldoze it because I actually really liked that lot in Brindleton Bay. However, I wanted to build a home, and this is going to be a family home for a family of 4, I believe. So there's 2 parents and 2 children. And you can see that this is where you kind of have a view of the lighthouse. So I thought it would be really cute to kind of make a converted lighthouse kind of home. Maybe it's odd because there's actually a lighthouse in the background. If you guys didn't know, in Brindleton Bay, that lighthouse is actually something that your Sims can go to the top of. They can enjoy the view, and it's actually a woohoo spot. Now I want to highlight this little detail here. I am like infatuated with this. Sweet Aiden, i.e. Devin Bumpkin, was using this little trick here on some windows to make his recent build. I think he called it the Malt and Anchor. It's a chippy in Brindleton Bay because he's doing his Let's Build the World series. It's amazing. I've been watching so much of him lately, and I thought that window trick was the coolest thing on the face of the planet. It adds so much detail, and it turned these base game plain windows into something totally different. I feel like it actually fits in with kind of like the corner detailing, the brick detailing in this wallpaper that I chose from Cottage Living as well. And it kind of matches the detailing around the door that I used from that same pack. So it fit so nicely. I just wanted to mention it because it was probably one of the most exciting parts of this build because it completely changed it. Like, it gave it so much character. So I just needed to tip my hat to Aiden because it was amazing. Like, I was blown away when I saw it in his build. But you can see that the exterior is coming together at this point. We have a nice little front porch. We also have kind of like a side porch that isn't covered, which I typically don't do. It's a little bit unusual for me, but I really liked it in this build. And now we are starting the landscaping, which I wanted to thank you guys so much for your feedback on the poll over on the community tab on kind of what you would look for in a landscaping tutorial. So I'm gonna do that. It could be horrible, okay? I just need to put that out there. It could be absolutely horrible. It could be entirely useless. This is just fair warning. I'm just gonna walk you through my process and kind of what I would consider realistic, or if I would consider it like a good pairing of shrubs and flowers and things. And of course, it's all subjective. So that's something to remember, and I'll probably mention it again in the quote unquote tutorial, is that anything that I'm suggesting or the way that I approach it isn't the right way to do it or the wrong way to do it. I truly believe that there's no wrong or right way to build and do things in The Sims. So just know that it's going to be tips and tricks that might be helpful just to kind of talk through my approach. And if you find it useful and it helps, then fantastic. If not, then that's also okay. But we are fencing in the lot here. I was going to use this fence from Get Together just because I thought that kind of like the crumbling rock would fit in really well with this island area. I thought it might be a little bit older, so maybe this lighthouse, which was converted into a home, was kind of the same material, but I do end up changing it mainly because, one, I am using this fence in my current Let's Build series, so it felt really recent and repetitive. So I do end up changing it up, but I change it to one of the fences that we got with Cottage Living, mainly because it pulled a lot of those white accents into the rest of the build. It almost seemed a little bit too dark, I suppose. That was kind of my thought process, but I don't know. You guys might see it on camera, you might not. I can't remember if I made the change before I just started the interior, but we are still working on landscaping, and I did use about like 3 or 4 different plants here. I was trying to find a shrub line that I really liked. I didn't want it to be, I don't know, too high. I didn't want it to be looking over or kind of branching over that fence. But when I change the fence, it kind of doesn't matter anyway. But I used these debug hedges from Get Together, which I thought were really nice because they have those really sweet little white flowers, and it tied in with one of the other plants that I used. And I also tried to use a few plants, I think actually only one from the Cats and Dogs pack, but I used these trees from Cats and Dogs just to try to make this lot blend into the world a little bit more. I also dove into the debug menu and I grabbed these stepping stones, which I haven't used used in a long time. I was really excited to use them here. And this is just me creating a pathway from kind of like the front entrance to the front door. And I also, now we have a gate. I think you saw me pull it out briefly, but we have a hedge gate. Technically it's considered a gate or something like that, but it's kind of an archway. And I do like that one, but the green is a little bit too vibrant for me. So I thought of pulling out the flower thatched kind of archway. I think it's technically a wedding arch in game from Cottage Living, and I put it right near the front. I thought it looked really, really pretty. I thought it looked really cute. Again, I can't even remember if I did that on camera or not, but you guys will see it eventually. I'm just using some terrain paint here just to kind of liven things up a little bit. I did have to mess around with the foundation a few times just to get the shrubs to lie flat because these are a little bit sensitive with spacing, these from the debug menu. So I do that a few more times as well near the end of the build just so I don't kind of like, I don't know, just so they're not floating. That was the main reason. But you guys are actually seeing my third attempt at the interior. Yes, the third. You always think, unless I say something, that you're seeing the very first attempt and that everything came together super quickly. That is not the case. This actually took me 3 times to figure out. 1, because it's a very small space, a lot smaller than I was anticipating. And 2, it just seemed really difficult to lay out something logically and fit everything that I wanted to fit. So the very first room that we do work on here is the kitchen. Oh my gosh, actually, I think this might even be my 4th attempt. In looking at the choices I just made, I'm pretty sure it's my 4th attempt. Which is really wild. And we actually make a handful of changes to kind of I don't know, how the room is cut off and separated from everything. Because originally I wanted this to be very open considering how small of a space it was. And I thought that that would work. But when I started to kind of plan out the living space and the very small dining space, it actually made more sense to me for the kitchen to at least be somewhat separate. But I do use these spandrels and the columns as an archway instead of plopping in an actual door from the Build and Buy catalog. So that's really the only change. We had a few more walls as well. Now I tried to make this look a little bit older. So I wasn't trying to make this look really fancy and renovated and new. I wanted it to kind of have a little bit of that original touch to it. And there's a very strong nautical theme that I just felt was appropriate for the fact that this is a lighthouse. But that is going to be the little dining area, and I'm just kind of sectioning off the kitchen a little bit more. It just looked awkward, and I know that these columns kind of poke through the wall as well, but I kind of just didn't care, so hopefully you guys don't mind either. But we were decorating the little dining space, trying to find a few different decorations. Also, I won't stop using that hanging plant from the Blooming Rooms kit. I did swap it out here, but I do use it later in the build. I just love it so much. I really like the hanging plants that we got with Nifty Knitting, for example, but the colors just don't work for me. They're almost too colorful. There's no neutral swatches at all. So I just love the Blooming Rooms kit, and especially that plant because it allows me to use it in so many different areas. But this is going to be the living space. Now, there is kind of this bump out from the build that probably could have been a living room, okay? But I thought that this room was way too big to just be a dining room, and I turned that little bump out piece into a den with a fireplace and a family computer, a nice armchair to relax by the fire, and that was an idea from my friend Amy because I had no idea what to put there whatsoever, but I thought it was such a nice idea, and it allowed me to kind of utilize this space as a dining/living room by creating this L-shaped, we'll call it an L-shaped couch. I mean, you can't sit on every single spot on that couch because they're merged together, but there's at least 4 seats, so every member of this household can sit together and watch TV. Everyone can also sit at the table, which is really nice. Now, I did shrink down this coffee table because we all know that coffee tables, for the most part in The Sims, are freaking huge. So we sized it down once and then used the red shelf to kind of put a few clutter pieces there. And they have a nice big screen TV, so at least everyone can see it. There's also a little basket of blankets, and then I just changed the swatch of that painting over the couch. I love that. That is probably one of my favorite pieces of artwork in The Sims 4 that we have, and I almost wish that we had like 10 to 12 swatches of it, to be fair. But now we are moving back into the kitchen because I completely got distracted trying to formulate that other space with the dining and living room that I didn't clutter up the kitchen. So we are going to be doing that now. And again, I was trying to make this kitchen look a little bit older. I liked using a lighter brick than the exterior. The one on the exterior was a little dark, I felt, in contrast to the dark wood floors that I chose. But I loved using a brick here in the kitchen, and I actually used that same brick in all of the bathrooms throughout the build, and I did not discover this flooring. Now, Journey to Batu, it is not a pack that I enjoy. I don't think it should have happened, but there's a big but here. The floorings are really, really, really nice. And I had only ever looked at, I think, 2 of the 3. And that was really just me trying to use them in builds as I was in the moment. I never actually sat down and tried to go through everything that came with the pack because honestly, buying it, I bought it on sale. I finally caved because I'm a collector. You can say what you will, it's fine, but I got it and I never went through any of the pieces. So as I was going through trying to find a flagstone flooring, because there's like 2 of them that I'd likely use in a bathroom, I discovered a Journey to Batu floor that I freaking love. Like, I had no idea how much I was going to like it, and I can't wait for you guys to see it. I mean, you've probably seen it. It's probably in your game or not. I don't know, but anyway, this is it right here. I thought it was the perfect flagstone type flooring for the bathroom. Now, it's a little bit dark in contrast to the brick that I put on the walls, but I thought it was really, really nice. So this is going to be a 3/4 bath. Actually, every single bathroom in this home, there are 2 of them. They're both 3/4 baths, which in the US, because I realize that might not mean the same thing for everybody. In the US, that means that there is a shower and a toilet and a sink. Now, a full bath would be considered, I think it would have to be a shower tub combo or at least a bathtub. I can't remember. Yeah, I really can't remember. It's basically 2 bathrooms, 2 full bathrooms, because your Sims can shower and use the toilet in either of them. So it doesn't really matter, but I just realized that it might not be the same everywhere else in the world. Anyway, so there's a bookcase here. This is kind of like a little hallway area. So this is part of that lighthouse tower. And I do put a ladder there. Now on the 2nd story, that is going to be like a little kid's playroom, little like private club playhouse thing. I was kind of thinking along the lines of like a tree house, but it's part of the home. It's in the lighthouse tower. I thought it was a cool idea. It doesn't go all the way up, so your Sims can't get to the top of the lighthouse and take in the view per se. I just didn't want to sacrifice the small amount of room that I actually had to place a bunch of ladders. So that's going to be for the kids, but this is the master bedroom, which I absolutely loved. This cats and dogs bed is my favorite. I'm pretty sure it's my favorite one in the game, aside from some of the ones from Dream Home Decorator. But I also use these very nautical themed hanging lights from Cats and Dogs. And instead of doing lights on the nightstands, I just hung them from the ceiling because it allowed me to add more clutter. Considering the room was super small, I thought this was kind of a nice trade-off. So let me know what you guys think about that, because I think I've only done this in one other build, and I actually never shared that build. Never shared it. Don't know why. Don't even know if I still have it. Do I still have it? I'm gonna have to check. So, more to come on that, I guess. But there is a dresser in here, a mirror on the wall, and thankfully, just like with another build that I did recently, I was worried that this wardrobe was going to block my Sim's ability to get to the other side of the bed. But I was blown away because my Sim had zero problem getting to both sides of the bed successfully. So if for any reason the scoot function doesn't work for you, not a problem. Your Sims can access both sides without issue. I also put another one of those nautical themed pieces over the bed here, just so I could, I don't know, diversify some of the decorations. I say diversify, and yet I literally use the same thing and the same painting, just in a different swatch. But, you know, repetition results in cohesion sometimes. So we're gonna go with that. But this is going to be the upstairs bathroom. There is, again, a shower, a toilet, and a sink. There is just an extra counter space for some bathroom clutter. So I'm assuming that both mom and dad, or mom and mom, dad and dad, the parents, I think that both of the parents and the children all use this bathroom mainly because it's the only one on the 2nd floor. And the kids don't have their own bathroom, which sometimes I'll do that, sometimes I won't. This is one of those times where I didn't think to do it. I didn't think it was appropriate, and I really didn't have the space. So this ends up being the little den area. We're kind of bouncing between upstairs and downstairs, which I think is a little bit confusing. On second thought, I probably should have kind of shuffled things a little bit better, but we're downstairs now and we're in the den. So this is where the fireplace is, that little armchair. Now you will see in the screenshot, it's a little bit closer to the fireplace, but when I was playtesting it, my sim could not light the fireplace. So before I uploaded to the gallery, I did go ahead and kind of shuffled it just to the left a little tiny bit to make sure that it could fit, and my sim could then light the fireplace, which is wonderful. Now also note that that little ottoman at the end of the chair there, that is technically considered another chair, so your Sims can't access the armchair. I did it purely for decoration. That is going to be something you will likely want to remove if you do want your Sims sitting in the armchair. But over there, we do have the decoration shelf in the corner. We also have this nice console table from Cats and Dogs, and I placed that Lighthouse light in 3 different places, I think, in this build, just to really drive home that this family is really proud of, I think, converting. That's the word I'm going to use. I think converting and not necessarily restoring, kind of repurposing. I'm trying to think of all the fun verbs here, but they're really proud of the fact that this used to be like the island lighthouse, and they want to kind of pay tribute to that in their home. So this ends up being the family computer. There's also a dollhouse for the kids to play with. Now, I was picturing that the kids were, I want to say maybe getting close to preteens though. Maybe they're like 10. I'm thinking 10-year-olds. That's what I'm thinking. And I wasn't necessarily thinking that they were twins, but the more that I kind of give thought to what I did with decorations and stuff like that, I don't know, maybe they are. They've got to be at least close to the same age. But this ends up being the kids' room, and it is a bit small, which is why I ended up using the bunk beds. So I think that these 2 kids actually love sharing a room. Like, they never want to actually have their own rooms. And they don't spend a lot of time here, so there really aren't too many decorations, at least in comparison to how I typically decorate kids' rooms. And there aren't really any activities. I think there's a bookcase and a TV and a video gaming console, so that's something that they could do in their room. But since they have the little lighthouse clubhouse thing, that's where they have a costume chest, like a toy chest, and then they also have a few nice little armchairs to hang out, and the scouting board is up there too. So I don't know if maybe they have a scouting club and that's kind of their unofficial clubhouse. I think it would be really cute. I mean, it's very small, so I think you could probably only get like 3 or 4 Sims up there at a time. I don't think you could really get too many Sims up there, so if you had a scouting club with 10 child Sims or something, probably wouldn't work too well. But here on the landing area, we do have the chemistry station. I was very hesitant to put it here because it's just huge. It doesn't match the aesthetic of this build. And then I said I don't really care because I don't use it enough, and I wanted the kids to have a few more activities scattered about the house. So I left the chemistry station there and just added a few decorations, and then we decorate their little kind of clubhouse area. I use this adorable little frog rug, and then here is the chest. And I did play test this. Everything's good to go. They could access everything, and you can see it's really, really small. If I had tried to put another ladder in here to get up to a higher level, I think it would have been a little much, and it would have been very challenging because the highest piece on this lighthouse is rounded compared to the square tower. So I don't know, the spacing would have gotten weird. But now we are moving on to the backyard, trying to carry through the landscaping that we did everywhere else. And I just love these shrubs. I really do. I don't use them enough, and I think I have to use them more because I gravitate towards the same landscaping pieces all the time. And I was really proud of myself for using these. But you can see here that I moved the stairs, and that is because if I had lowered the foundation down to the ground, they would have just simply disappeared, and I would have had to go into the build by catalog to grab them again, and I didn't really want to, so I just moved them out of the way. But yeah, we're just carrying the landscaping through, and I don't section off any part of this yard. Like, I don't section off a backyard compared to a front yard. I felt as though since the porch, I guess we'll call it a porch, I felt as though since the porch was pretty big and it was so open that it didn't call for a division. And then the last minute design change that I really made was adding this back door. So there are 3 exit points from this home. There's the front door, the side door onto the porch, and then there's also this back door. In retrospect, I probably would have put another staircase, I think, on the porch to get to the backyard because there is going to be a lot of like taking the long way around, but I don't know. I still really like it. So I added a picnic table out here with an umbrella. There's also a grill. There's a gardening plot, and I added these little base game lights onto the edges just so there was some outdoor lighting. I think I added the rocking chairs onto the front porch because I thought, you know what, that's going to be the perfect place to just sit, have your morning coffee, listen to the seagulls, hear the waves crashing on the beach. It's just, you could watch the ferry pull into the dock. It just sounds like a very, very peaceful space to be in. And then there's also going to be a swing set for the kids. There is the horseshoe game in the backyard. I thought that was a nice addition. And I think there's maybe a few more gardening boxes and a bicycle on the back. I think the one that we got as like a, technically isn't cottage living. I think it's base game, but it's because I ordered cottage living before a certain time. I can't remember, but that is pretty much it for the build. So I hope you guys did enjoy this one. Thank you for enduring another rambly voiceover, and I will catch you next time I post a video, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
The sign was given, it's in the way you move and in the sound of your heart. We tend to fall together, fall in love, and still in the end we'll fall apart. So as hope is that we stay close, but it's the life that we chose. It takes time to get it right. Sleepless days and nights. We just need a little more. Just a little time for you and I. So stay a bit longer. Just a little time for you and I. Until it's over. Just a little time. I think that we got blinded, 'cause when it's good it's great, so we can't see we're fading away. So as hope is that we stay close, but it's the life that we chose. It takes time to get it right. Sleepless days and nights. We just need a little